Come on, you ready to roll? Let's do this thing.
Yes, we can. 708, guys. Hey, everyone. Welcome to Uncensored Therapy. As you know, I'm Ashley. We are missing one of our... we are missing our counterpart.
Listen, you ain't got no excuse at this point. We've been doing this since November now.
Anywho, he wants to fight. I'm burning up, y'all. I'm hot as hell in my house. I'm going to open these windows. Ugh.
Yo, y'all, welcome. I'm Lorenzo, as y'all already know. Beautiful lady, Ashley. Jean Marie is out tonight. That woman is out celebrating her husband. It's his birthday, so it was like, yeah, go do your thing. Go celebrate that man, you know. So our third counterpart is not here on tonight, but it's all good because Ashley and I we're gonna roll with this thing. To everybody that's out there right now, you 6 wonderful people that are sitting in here with us, we appreciate y'all for being here.
6 is a beautiful number.
It is. We appreciate y'all for being here. Again, this is Uncensored Therapy, conversations with friends. You know what I'm saying? We're gonna sit up here and have a little conversation tonight as it pertains to some things in life. And one of those things in life is called parenting. Notice my little sinister laugh, because that's my little sinister laugh, because the joy of parenting, those bundles of joys that, you know, we have, those little people that grow up to be little sneaky, little mischievous, little, you know, but we love them, bundles of joy. Now, look, tonight during this conversation, we look forward to anybody participating. You want to come up and share your experience, we invite it all. Any questions you may have, we invite it all. However, if you feel that you are in a space to where you need to seek out professional mental health therapy, we encourage you to do so. This is a space for you to be able to relate and or share or just listen, learn, and grow. But if you do need to seek out therapy, we do encourage you to do that. We can provide you with resources if necessary. Besides that, this is a space to just come into it and talk and hear others and share experiences. That's the biggest thing. We like to share experiences and learn from one another. And tonight, our topic, we're calling our parents. We're asking y'all, how is your mental health? Now, when we say parents, we're not just talking about birth parents, you know, for those who are raising their biological children. We're also talking about step parents. We're talking about foster parents, legal guardians. Even if you're an aunt or uncle and you play a very important role in your nieces and nephews' lives, some of you take on parenting, and some of you are in programs where you're mentors, and that you know, we can kind of add that to it. But any form of parenting, we want to check in with everyone and just talk about your mental health, what that looks like on this journey called parenting. Now, I said this in just a few minutes ago, but the real deal, children, they are a blessing. You know what I'm saying? They really are, and they are a joy. However, if we can be realistic, children can sometimes, I think kids are the main people who will really test your gangster.
Because they
all seriousness.
I think I look at toddlers, I would say from 2 to about 6, they are a baby narcissist. I said I'm gonna write a children book, and it's like my baby narcissist. I mean, if we're gonna talk about developmental like stage, they're not at that age where they can know like I'm hurting somebody's feelings. I legit picked my baby up today. He's 4. And I'm like, hey, pick you up. He said, I wanted my daddy. I said, huh? I said, daddy gonna pick you up on Friday. He said, well, you go get him because I want to go with my daddy. I was just like, well, is that nice to say? He said, so? I said, oh. I said, come on, let's get in the car. Sorry to disappoint you.
Listen, them babies can be some of the most brutally honest people. I'm telling you, you want to know how you look in the outfit? Ask your child, the ones that's 6 and under. Ask them. They will tell you how you look in that outfit. They will hurt your feelings and not even know it. And then hug you and say it's all right. But in talking about parenting and what that looks like, everybody has their own parenting style. So this isn't necessarily about saying whose parenting style is right or wrong, but it's about your parenting style and the way your children are coming up under your your parenting and how that's affecting you. And it literally goes, I was thinking up throughout teenage years, but even some older people still dealing with their adult children. You know what I'm saying? Like, that's really unto death. If we have to be honest, you know, your children will constantly take you there. And I believe every parent puts their best foot forward. Not every parent, I take that back. I believe most parents put their best foot forward to do their
I don't even know if
best
I say
in
most
raising their
because I work
children.
for CPS, so I wouldn't say most.
That, you know, I wonder sometimes though, like what causes a parent to not want to have anything to do with their child? Like that oftentimes blows me. And I don't, I never find an answer, but the amount of parents that don't want to have anything to do with their children, it puzzles me, and I question a lot of either what happened to them, or even if some of them actually come from good upbringings and stuff like that, but they don't want to take on that responsibility. I will never get it. I never understand it.
I think having a child, it creates a certain type of maturity. Like you have to grow up because now you have to like devote, if not all your life, a part of your life into raising a being. Um, what
It
I
changes
feel
you.
is, I'm sorry.
It changes you.
Yes, I think they don't want to have that responsibility. And I can be rich, poor, like it doesn't matter. Like what I'm learning is it really doesn't matter how much money you have. If they don't want that responsibility or that something that's gonna force you to grow and something that's gonna look at you and judge you. Because think about that, we judge our parents. Sometimes people want to deal with it because they don't want to be judged. Like,
Yeah, man. Speaking of growth, um, a child will really going into parenting will really change you, and I'll say it can change you for the better. Because just think about it. Just think about if prior to having a child, it's not that you had nothing to live for, but it wasn't none for you for an individual, for some individuals to get out here and be real scrappy, fighting everybody that, you know, not even worrying about things like that, just get into all kind of trouble and mishap. But that child can potentially sometimes help change that. You know what I'm saying? Because now it's like, okay, I have something to live for. I have someone to raise, you know, so I can't be out here just acting a fool. So I think it matures you, and it even gives you a different perspective and outlook on life, and it helps grow your emotional intelligence. It helps give you a balance. It can help give you a balance mentally, because you know you really are now putting this child first. So I think in certain ways it one can mature you. But then again, like I said, while it may mature you and how you interact with other people, your interactions with your child over time is going to be on a scale. And sometimes it'll be to the far left, sometimes to the far right, and sometimes in between. Because again, your children will test your gangster. I have my godson here with me. He's 3. He's 3. And today I was driving, and it was a little traffic, and he had his tablet, and he kept saying, "Paul Rain, help me with my tablet, help me with my tablet." And I'm trying to get him to understand, like, Dory, I can't help you with your tablet because I'm driving. Dory said, and before I knew it, the tablet came to the front of the car. Like he threw the tablet at me.
I told you, baby narcissist, baby narcissist.
And before I knew it, I popped him. And I was like, dang. So I pulled to the side of the road because we were in traffic, and I picked him up and I hugged him, you know. And I was like, I'm sorry, Booger, I'm sorry. But children will shift, will cause you to react without thinking. You know what I'm saying? And as adults, we're supposed to be able to think things out and think logically. And me, is like, I'm driving. Why would you reach behind, turn your head to pop this child, you know, while you're driving? But them children, they will pull it out you at that age. Like they will get it out you in all seriousness.
And as you as an adult, that's the one you have to control your actions. I think sometimes whooping is a result of not controlling like your anger. But he did that, you knew it was wrong, and you're traditional, so you probably beat your kids or whatever.
Hold up, we're gonna talk about that. Hold up. Cameron, Cameron Jr.'s mom said they will definitely try to see how far they can get away with stuff. And they will. man. And you know what? They do that because even my son now, who's 15, we'll get more to the teenagers later. I swear I think he think me and mom are stupid. Like he just be trying stuff, and I should be like, bruh, like, do you know we've lived? Yeah, he really be trying it. I don't get it though. It blow me. It really blows me. But I'm gonna get more to the teenagers later. I do kind of want to lightly touch on postpartum depression. The amount of women that deal with that after delivering a child. So I looked this up and I found it interesting because I was blown by it. So the state that has the least amount of women, as reported by, who is this reported by? America's Health Rankings, is Maine. They have the least amount of reported women who have been diagnosed with postpartum depression, and Alabama has the most. And I found that interesting for both states. Real
Did you look
interesting.
at race? I'm just curious.
I didn't even look at race. No, I didn't even look up race.
I think when having a baby, like you mentally and hormonally go through. Can you all hear him?
Mm-hmm. I'm good. I can still hear you good though.
Okay, 1 second. So what I would say, you know, babies changes your body. I think it has a lot. It's not just necessarily just having a baby. I know even during my pregnancy, like shit, I started seeing shit like that wasn't there. Here you go. You're welcome. Jesus Christ. I don't. Y'all know he
You
be
said
tearing
you
me.
was no. You said you was seeing stuff during your
Oh
pregnancy.
yeah. I had to stop working because I worked as a mental health caseworker and like I'd be driving and like I kept seeing deer that wasn't there. Like and I could be swerving my car, you could see me go like this, and I'm like, I almost killed myself a couple of times because I thought like something was there. Like it really changes your mental health period. I remember I had a coworker, her sister had to go into a mental health facility because she became homicidal. She wanted to kill her husband. Like she tried to kill her husband. I done had a couple of clients that like who had schizophrenia and she's unable to take her medicine and like they turned up real bad. Sometimes you just snap. When I was going to therapy while I was pregnant, my therapist was just like, you need to take off. Because I kept saying, I'm going to slap the fuck out my supervisor and I'm going to slap the fuck out of my sister. Like, I'm going to kill both of them. I was really like, I was just, you couldn't, I would have murdered everybody in their sleep.
And pretty much for women, before the child even get here, which is something we all know, y'all begin changing when the child is developing. You know what I'm saying? That, when you think about it, that's just like, yeah.
It's the hormones, man. It messes up your brain. You get pregnancy brain. You forget things. You're very forgetful. Your comprehension. Comprehension.
I got you, baby. Yeah.
You want to fight? Comprehension. It's crazy. Then you have the baby, so it's crazy. It's not nobody's fault. It's just something just happens, and it's all types of different like depression. Like it's not just postpartum depression when it comes to after having a baby. Like there's like attachment issues. There's some that feels like they want to hurt the baby. It's so much. I think I did my paper on that when we was in grad school. I think I had PPD. I think I did that.
And while we're talking about that and just talking about how it changes you, it can change you for the better and even the worse. Because look at the amount of cases where parents have taken the lives of their babies, like their actual babies. I can't remember the story, and I'm gonna actually have to look it up, and I should have looked it up. But I remember there was the girl whose baby would not stop crying. And she ended up, I'll say, taking the baby out. And I think about that because that's one of those things too. When you asking a parent, how's your mental health? When you have that crying child that you cannot communicate with and you don't know what they're trying to communicate to you, and so all they can do is cry. I'm gonna go back to my godson. We were driving home and he kept saying Paul Rain, and he just kept saying Paul Rain. And it was getting on my nerves. So even if you think about just that crying baby, Ashton didn't do a lot of that. So I don't necessarily know that experience as far as just a constantly crying baby. You know what I'm saying? But I know it happens, and when you have something like that, it can mess with you. You know, you're already dealing with everything that's going on within your own self after delivering this baby as a woman, and then both men and women, because of, especially in your first time parenting, because of our level of ignorance with your first child, and even with, I won't say with any child, but I'll say more so with the first child. You know, you
I,
don't
I
know
don't
what the
I don't
cry
think it's
is.
just on first child when it comes to like patience. It don't matter.
Yeah,
It's not the baby. We can't blame the baby. It's
that's
defenses.
facts.
It's your coping mechanisms. Like I used to tell moms, I like shit. A crying baby ain't gonna die, so leave that baby. I be like, go ahead, leave them upstairs. They be all right. A crying baby ain't gonna die, but if you kill that baby, it's gonna be a wrap. And it don't matter the age. It was this woman. She killed her 10-year-old son and pretended like somebody broke into the hotel to kill him. It's really just who the parent is, to be honest.
Man, that, and as a parent, you have to find that time. I remember one time, um, I said something, and it was a female. She responded to me, and we were talking about children and stuff like that. And like I said, right now my son is 15, so his teenage years has just been a hell of a ride. I'll just say that much. And I was like, man, my son made me sick. I said it just like that, and she real deal got mad with me, and she was like, "You're ungrateful. You know, people out here want kids." And I'm like, "How am I ungrateful? Like, do you under?" And when all of her kids were under 7, she had 4. And I'm like, that's a lot to deal with. But wait till them 4 you have become teenagers. I don't hate my child. I don't want to get rid of my child. But the reality of the situation is that little nigga make me sick sometimes. You know what I'm saying? Because, like, I say that, you know what I'm saying? And I still love my child the same. However, man, when it get in them years, them teenagers, like, I had to switch some of my discipline methods because I was always the parent to talk. And let's talk it out. And let's sit down and talk. But, you know, you start balling your fists up and, you know, biting your lip while I'm talking to you and looking at me crazy, like, man, you won't fight? You won't fight, bro?
You trying to fight?
Like,
Oh,
yo, it's on your mind. You know what I'm saying? Like, we have to be careful when talking to other parents about how they parent. You know what I'm saying? You know, I don't ever want to down a parent. You know what I'm saying? I think we should understand what child neglect is. You know what I'm saying? So we never know what another parent is going through. So we want to be very careful how we address other parents and how they're parenting, because your child may be a perfect angel. Notice I say maybe. My child may have been, you know, on the
I
left
feel
side
like
of hell.
anybody say my kid don't do nothing or my kid ain't bad, my kid don't do that, they delusional.
But that's facts though. You know? Um and we have to live in the reality. Those bundles of joy, them children that we love so much and we do appreciate God for, can literally bring us through hell sometime and will almost cause you to jump off a cliff. Not literally, but you know, because they take you there, you know what I'm saying, especially as they start aging. So is a real thing, and you have to consider your own mental health, because here's the thing: if you don't consider your own mental health and emotional intelligence, the way you raise that child is just going to affect them as they become an adult, and it's just going to be an ongoing thing. So one, let's take into consideration how the parent was raised. You know, some parents, I hear some people say, I don't want to raise my child like my parents raised me. You know what I'm saying? Whatever that means, because it can mean a lot. You know what I'm saying? And
Trauma.
I'm a,
Trauma.
which, which is it?
It's trauma. Trauma. They
You
don't want
know?
to re-traumatize. That's why a lot of parents don't whoop their kids because they didn't got beat.
Now, All right, hold up. But yeah, so we want to think about how look at the parent, or just how was that parent raised, and sometimes looking at whatever that my bad, looking at whatever that parent went through as a child with their parents, it can either show in their parenting, or they'll raise a child totally different from how they were raised based on their experiences. You know what I'm saying? And but then that could either be good or bad,
I
good or
feel like
bad.
growing up, because we all experienced trauma. I think it took for me to recognize that my parents was or my parent, my mom died when I was young. So my parent was traumatized, and he was just doing the best he could from what he learned.
Mm-hmm.
So once you recognize stuff like that, because some parents, it was never told they I love you. So
And
how can
and I just bought somebody up. And no, that's real. And I'm gonna get on that affection. I think that's real. What's going on, man? How you doing?
What's going on? So,
Not much.
one thing I like that you said, you 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 should be careful how you tell other people that how you raise and rear your kids, because like you said, the girl, or you're ungrateful, she be the one who kill her kids because she let everything bottle up. Like that's just weird to me. I believe in spankings. I don't believe in beatings, but I believe in some certain things. Kids, you need to get popped, because in my eyes, being that I'm black, I'm going to rear my kids so the world don't have to rear my kids.
Right.
what do
I'm going
where are my kids? What do that mean?
rear. I can't pronounce that word. I'm going to punish my kids if I have to. How
Why?
I see fit. How I see fit. If
Why?
my kids playing with fire, that we're going to have a talk. But then sometimes the talking, how I was raised, I thought I was slicker than a can of oil. So if you let me get away with this, oh, now I'm about to just push the envelope. I want to see how far I can take you with it.
So I'm gonna play devil's advocate, because I too agree in Spain. It's like real, but I'm gonna play devil's advocate for a second. So
Uh-huh.
if you see for a second, let's take two things. If you see that the physical discipline isn't helping, what will be your next move? And I
So,
want I want you to consider two things.
yeah,
As far as the whooping, I want you to consider two things. If you see it's not working, consider that child's state of mind and
correct.
your state of mind as it pertains to what has happened and the discipline that's being put onto the child. Just consider that child's state of mind and their perspective and yours. So
So
if the
let
whoop
me go ahead. I
go,
apologize.
no, you good.
So,
Go ahead.
so the whooping is only last resort.
Mm-hmm.
It's talking. We're going to talk about it. Then there's going to be a punishment. Then it's the whooping. Does that make
Okay.
sense? I
I,
don't just go off the deep end and just whoop my kids. No, we're going to talk about it. Then it's going to be a punishment. So, for instance, my kids act up in school. If my kids act up in school, whole week, right?
mm-hmm.
5 days in a week, school week. The first 2 days, hey son, what's going on? I need you to talk to me. Same things going on. I'm sorry, I'm driving. But
No, you good.
so the second, okay, now you getting grounded. You on punishment. All toys, TVs, I'm taking away. That Friday, that Friday, straight. Now I'm also going to be involved in, hey, what's going on in school. I'm going to talk. If it's just a him thing,
Mm-hmm.
we're like, okay, don't try to get over.
Okay.
Uh, I'm sorry, y'all.
No, you're good. I see where you're going with it, and I see.
Yeah,
So
the
it's
whooping is only a last resort.
okay, and I can agree with you on that. And the reason why I asked that, because just even from personal experience as a parent, and even as someone with a mental health background. So as of recent, and I'll be transparent with this. As of recent, with my 15-year-old, about a good 2 weeks ago, I had to take the physical the physical route of discipline with him. And I think that's the most physical I've ever gotten with him, because he really had gotten out of pocket. We hadn't had the conversation, we hadn't punished him. And so once it was done, and like I said, it really It really went there.
Did you talk to him afterwards?
Oh, he didn't want to talk. Like, and I was, and it's not that I allow him. It's not that he has the choice. But in that moment, I didn't go forward with the conversation because I'm still trying to consider his mental and emotional space. And so the reason why I asked you to think about the perspective, because afterwards I thought about, although I felt like the physical was deserving based on based on what he had did,
Circumstances.
the
Circumstances.
circumstances.
Yeah.
I had to go back and think about his perspective. And a lot of times, like I was raised, it's like you don't have no perspective. The parent is right. And and I try not to do that. And so he had a conversation with his mom, and he asked if I didn't love her, if I still loved him or not. You know what I'm saying? And
See,
so
that's where that conversation come in. Now, this is where may I interrupt, please?
Go ahead.
So if I spank my kids, I'm going to sit there and explain to you, hey, son, this is why you got to whoop it. No matter what. Now, I understand what you say. I'm thinking about his emotional space and all that. I feel as if you have to legit sit down, and that's a lot. That's where I would say, like, our parents and grandparents went wrong at. We just got whooped and we go to bed. I'm going to sit here and explain to you, hey, son, this is why you can't do this. These things that you're doing could sometimes lead to this and this. And then you're going to be a grown-up, and this can happen. And the possibility of this can happen. So I try to explain to my kids. And I hugged them. Like as soon as they, like, in the middle of them crying. It's not. Go ahead.
No. Finish your thought.
Yeah, it's not just I'm gonna whoop you. No, I don't believe in that. My dad did whoop me. My mom whooped me. My dad did it. So
that's facts.
But I also, me and knowing my son is something like me, he think he's slick. My son is very sneaky. So he think he can get away with any and everything. And with that being said, it's like I hate when a person's like trying to tell you your life. That's what my stepfather tried to do. I did, but you don't know what I'm going through though. So I try to have conversations with my kids.
Mm-hmm. And that's facts. And I encourage, I ain't telling nobody how to raise a kid, but I encourage that. Like I said, I was always the parent that did speak. We appreciate you, bro. You have to remove yourself, but we appreciate you and your sharing, man. We have to be mindful of that discipline, because one thing I never want to do is discipline my child while I'm angry. You know what I'm saying? Because you literally end up doing something that you'll probably regret. And so we always want to try and have that space to either calm down, assess the situation and come back to it. Because in moments like that, we can lose sight of our own emotional intelligence and go off on the deep end. But to the young man who just left, and to everyone else, if you caught the middle or telling of our conversation, I asked him about considering where he is in his mental or emotional space, as well as the child, because sometimes we'll, in our parenting, like I said, our children be the ones that test our gangster, and that'll take us there. And sometimes they'll cause us to go beyond being upset or mad. And we will move from disciplining our child to potentially abusing them. I'll say that. You know what I'm saying? So we want to be mindful.
Never whoop your kid mad. Like, never whoop your kid
correct
mad.
And your mental health, speaking of emotional intelligence, all that's under that umbrella. So we want to keep that in mind when we are disciplining our kids. You know what I'm saying? We have somebody else that wants to come up. Let me see. Give me a second. I'm pulling somebody else up. So just that's just something to keep in mind, because again, and I keep saying this, our kids will test our gangster probably more than anybody else. What's going on, man? How you doing? What you got for us?
What's going on, man? Good evening. Good evening. How y'all doing? Like, I agree with the majority of what the other brother was saying, because like, to me, it's when it becomes a problem, because I grew up in that type of setting, where the religion was different. It was Jehovah Witness. It was behind closed doors. They beat the crap out their kids. I'm just telling you. It's like being raised with a Catholic nun. And we be weird people growing up because growing up in that house type of household with that type of religion, we're different. We're highly intelligent and we're very disciplined and well mannered because what type of freaking way they man
The abuse.
they'll do you. They're very abusive people. I'm just gonna say
It's a
it.
cult. It's definitely a cult. I
Yes, it
never knew
is.
this.
Yes, Wayne Wonder started it. When they came to my door, I served them. You don't even know what you're worshiping. So when you come to my door, I'm gonna serve you, and they be like, "Dang," and walk away. Like they never come back, because I tell them about their own religion. It was Wayne Wonder, 1818. It wasn't Brandon D. Russell. The real founder was a sorcerer. He was a witch doctor, and they hung him and killed him in 1818. His name was Wayne Wonder, and the Watchtower is a pyramid that is in the middle of freaking
Stay
Rockford, New
focused. Talk
York.
about parenting. Stay
But
focused.
anyway. So growing up into that type of household, like, and then being the only light skinned kid in a house full of all dark skinned people in the '90s. Now you'll be surprised on how this plays a part with abuse and like stuff and people not caring. Now what I'll say is, what I have two kids. I have a daughter and a son. I was more lenient on my daughter because she's a girl and she's very girly, so it was hard for me. But when I noticed that my son, what it was, I noticed my daughter was sneaky, so she would do stuff. So as a parent, first of all, you have to pay attention to your children. You have to pay attention to how they're moving. You can't just get lost in the sauce, even in your house, and not pay attention to what's going on amongst your kids as they're playing around and stuff. Because you'll be taking more out on one kid when you don't know the other kid's just silently tiptoeing, messing with them. So the kids will automatically start feeling like the one parent is favoritizing if they're getting attacked more than the other one, and the other one's being sneaky. So I caught my daughter, like one day I just said, man, let me start paying attention because I know he ain't lying sometimes. And I snuck around the corner and she was over top of him punching him for no reason. He was just minding his business, not doing nothing. And I was like, caught you. And from that point on, I knew how important it was to watch them, to not be unbalancing it, because when it becomes abuse is when you use the verbal. Now my aunt Levita would give whoopings, but then she would put the "you crazy motherfucking wreck," all that stuff. Then it is abuse. Then it is abuse. When you beat kids and kill yourself, I don't got enough money to bury you anyway, I'll get you cremated for $200. That shit you never forget. I heard that type of stuff as a kid. But you're going to the Kingdom Hall, right? So that's when it's abuse, the
So
verbal. Now the
how my
guys,
question is how, because it sounds like you had a traumatic childhood. So how do you not do that to your kids?
you just always remember that. Like I remember looking at my kid and seeing how beautiful of a child he was and being like, I could never, ever. Look at this young man. Like like, who could do that? To a point where I cried before. Just looking at my son randomly would make me cry, because it would be like I would look. He's identical to me. So it's like, who could do that to a child? So I have to give patience to my child no matter what. Now and then even if you felt like you went over the top with your child, you sit them down and you say and you talk to them and you like, look, son, you are, because sometimes my son he's a Sagittarius, he's a daredevil, he will do some crazy, I'm like, whoa, then it's the menace type stuff, and it's like, Leo, like, so the more to the story is, when it comes to
Great.
children and like giving, you got to talk to them, you have to chop it up with them, you have to verbalize it, and they respect you more. They respect you more when you do that. And that's why you take some of the stuff that your parents from the 90s disciplined you with, because they are building character. Like, they're building character. Some of the techniques with whoopings were building character, but when you added the verbal and the name calling and all that, it became abuse. But some stuff was to build character. So you snatch some of it, but then you do it. Make sure you add the talking with the child. Let them know, hug them before and after, or don't hug them before. Let them know, talk, and then hug them after, and sit them on your lap. And then sometimes moms be like, "Why they listen to you and don't listen to me?" And then it could be vice versa. Dad, why don't they don't listen to? Because they do that thing right there where they break it down. That gives the respect. So that's why it be throwing the parenting off if the other person is not consistent. And some moms are intimidated by their kids or something. Take my phone, get out my face. It's like, bro, our moms was instilling the fear of God in us in the 90s. Like, bro, we got
Heavy.
scraped. Like, what do you mean? Like, bro, she'll uppercut you for real. Like,
So
She'll
look,
punt you down the stairs. Like it was none of that. So it's scary to see a lot of babies having babies, and then you like it's like they have a kid and just watch it grow up, and
so
like
let me ask you this. And I'm listening to you, and correct me if I'm wrong. What I'm hearing is that you sound pretty self-aware of your parenting. You sound self-aware, yes or no?
yes, very
Yes.
much so. You have
So
to be.
if I may ask, where are you? How do you feel, or how do you? Where is in your parenting? How do you feel about your own mental health? In a very short answer.
Like a short answer. Okay. I feel like I learned. I would just say that I learned as I went because I had kids with somebody who had already had a kid, so I learned in a weird way, and somebody who was manipulative and was running game because they knew I was young and didn't know no better. So I learned. I would just say I learned. And then as I learned and as you get older, you pinpoint your mental health and your traumas and your issues. And when you have kids, you are forced to reflect and help yourself get rid of those for the sake of your child. And if you're a real man or a real person, you will work on those naturally. It will be something that you will, make like a mandatory thing that'll snap inside yourself to restrict yourself from being certain ways when it comes to your children. It's a natural thing, I
Okay.
think. And it
Cool.
should be.
Cool. So it sounds like you're in a good space emotionally and mentally as far as your parenting, and you're trying to display that in your parenting with your kids.
And show them that they can become some of the strongest people from you know having this type of structure or seeing what their dad went through and how he raised them completely different but kind of with the same intensity, but not the abuse and the verbal and the understanding and the care and the firmness that'll make them stronger. And they could, it's not the same, and then they can respect their dad for not having that, people being raised with a person with not that patience and going through that, and then he helped them because you can take your pain and build it into a strong foundation that is not as impierceable. If you structure it right, it can be strength. You can turn it into that. If you don't act like the world owe you something, and everybody had a life. I met kids in children's services that had worse lives than me, bro. And some of them are successful now, electricians, or they made it. Not all, but some fought through and it did not affect them. And you can't make excuses. You can't do the narcissism thing. You gotta hold it to strength. And when you have kids, you definitely gotta suck it up because you gotta prevent your kids from having that same traumatic life that you had. And that's your job.
I appreciate that. I appreciate that. If you can, when you get it, go ahead and drop yourself back into the audience. We appreciate your input, man.
100, 100. It was nice talking to
Thank
you guys,
you.
man.
Likewise.
100. Yep, Bunny, no problem.
Yo, I pinned a comment that I'm gonna butcher this. I think it's
RJ.
man, my head all saying Rajay.
RJ. RJ.
RJ has said breaking cycles, and uh in speaking about mental health, if as a parent you are parenting based on what you've experienced, especially if it was traumatic, it is very important that you do break that cycle because your child will experience what you experienced as a child. And that will then literally influence them if they become a parent. And that same parenting will be carried, and that same mental health space as a parent will remain within that family, and it will move from generation to generation. So we have to find ways, to break those types of cycles, because we do have a lot of parents that are raising their children and they are still broken from whatever they experienced as a child with their parents, and emotionally and mentally they may not be in the best spaces, and it can show in their parenting, and it will manifest in their children. So again, when we say, calling all parents, how is your mental health? That's the reason, because as parents, one, you have to raise these humans, and they're going to put you through it. On top of raising these humans, you still got to consider the things that are still, if you have not gotten through whatever it is you went through as a child with your own parents, and it's affecting you and affecting you as a parent, dealing with the the ups and downs of raising a child or children on top of what you experience as a child with your parents is going to create a toxic environment for you and your children. You know what I'm saying? So one, definitely seek out some family counseling. You know what I'm saying? And even seek out counseling yourself. There are therapists who sit and speak with parents. You know what I'm saying? Because at the end of the day, we will definitely go through. God, Bunny, your Wi-Fi trash. We will definitely go through the ups and the downs of being a parent. You know what I'm saying? And you definitely have to. I'm not gonna say you definitely. Oh man, I lost Bunny. I'm solo dolo for a second, y'all. Um, I feel like you should definitely seek out therapeutic services if you are going through that. Y'all give me a second. I'm trying to pull Bunny back up right quick. But you definitely want to try and break those cycles because you don't want to keep carrying over that type of experience throughout generations with your children. Another thing, I'm gonna keep rolling until I get Bunny up here. Another thing I want to talk about, how often, any parents in the audience, how often do you all get time to have that time to yourself? Whether it's you and your spouse just have that time, or you, it's important that y'all do that. I like when I hear people say, you know, I need a break from my kids. And the reason why I like it, to me, I'm going to say this, that tells me, for me, I may be wrong, that you're putting the proper time into your children, and you're putting the proper, whatever else that needs to be put into your children to help shape them into the humans that they will hopefully become to be. It's good to have friends and family. That is good. Cameron Jr.'s mom, she said, it's good to have friends and family that you're close to point out the cycles that you're using that was used to us, or I think she meant to say on us. But that is very, very true. Sometimes people can see what you can't see within your own parenting and the ways you're raising your children. So it's good when someone can see that. Light skin red, I'm trying to pull Ashley back here, y'all. Light skin red said, my kids are grown, so every day they're at work. Okay. All right. But definitely, y'all, we as there she go.
I'm like, what the fuck happened?
I was so talking about you and that Wi-Fi.
I got all 4 bars or whatever you want to say it. I'm looking like, what the fuck? Like, what the fuck?
And but I was just saying that it's important to understand your own parenting and seek out therapeutic services if you're still carrying things from when you were a child, that affected you as a child from your parents, and now you're a parent and your children are giving you the blues. So that combination of what you went through and now what you're taking on from your kids is going to create a toxic environment as you raise your children. It's all right, y'all, to take a break and to want to take a break from your kids. Like, it's really okay. You are not a bad person, because again, them children will test your gangster. I was being funny. I put up on our story, I put up the flyer, and it was with Mary J. Blige song saying, you know, I'm fine, 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 fine. And it had a quick flash of that little meme that say F them kids and the woman throwing a baby. Sometimes your kids will have you feeling like that, y'all. That's okay to have that feeling. We ain't say to like literally say F your kids, but you know, in a figurative manner, sometimes, you know, you have that feeling like them kids that do it to you, and you have to be mentally and emotional healthy to parent in a proper way. Let's be 100. You know what I'm saying? Because if you aren't able to handle parenting your children and then everything else you got going on in life, man, that's in all honesty, is going to be a jacked up household. So again, seek that therapy. You know, they'll help you find ways and spaces to maneuver in your parenting. I'm trying to bring up. Oh, I don't have no request. There he is. What's going on, Bam?
Look at that white.
What's going on, man? How y'all making?
Good, good. So you know what? This is what I should have did from the start. before you start talking, Bam, let me ask this. As a parent, this is my brother. Everybody don't know. That's why I know he's a parent. I want to ask this, and then you can go on into whatever you want to share. As a parent, how is your mental health and emotional
Um,
health?
my mental and emotional health is okay. I could I'm sure I could use some maintenance, but I'm not like totally out of whack, thankfully. Because I do have a counterpart as well. So um that helps. Not always in every situation, but if you have a significant other, man, that can be a phenomenal asset
Shout
because
out
you
to the
know what I'm
single
saying.
parents.
Yeah, because we came up with one. You know, mom's she had three boys, and she was doing it by herself before daddy came. So it was the single parents are beasts, and uh, having a parent is a beautiful thing because they have so many kids that don't have parents as well. But that having that spouse or that significant other in the house with you
Mm-hmm.
to truly see the things that are going on behind closed doors, because people that are from the outside looking in, they can say whatever they want to say or whatever, but they don't know. When you have somebody that actually knows and can really help and critique from a positive standpoint, is a truly phenomenal thing.
Right.
But I totally understand the premise. Those three words. Blank the kids. God bless their hearts, because they're like close to the proximity, so I'm not trying to let them hear. But I totally understand that premise 100% because they disgusting, but we love them so much. They look. I got the teenager right there. I'm talking about. I'm still here. I'm right here. All right, Alessandra, chill out. Jesus God, Alessandra. Anyway, like I said, they speak for themselves. Disgusting, but again, that still does not make me love them any less.
Not
Want to take care
disgusting.
of them any less. You know what I'm saying? I'm doing everything I possibly can for them. You know what I'm saying? And I will continue to do it no matter what. You know what I'm saying? So it is what it is. We're gonna make this thing work. So yeah,
Well, thank you for your feedback. We always appreciate you when you speak, Mr. Alex.
indeed. And it's nice to be appreciated, and we appreciate you too with your advice and your antics as well. God bless your heart, because you are a colorful person. I think that's a fair way of describing you.
If you want to fight, just say that. If you want to fight, just say that.
If I already told you, buddy, I'm 6'4", 400. I don't fight. I
And
massacre,
I
baby
take
girl.
you down at your
I hear what you're
address.
saying. I hear what you're saying, but it hasn't been done yet. I've
But
been threatened by
you
bigger
haven't
and
been.
better, my love.
I'm coming.
All
Is you in
right.
New
All
Orleans?
Right.
right.
Is you in New Orleans? I'm about to pull up.
Bam. Thank you.
What's down with it? You welcome, son. I'm about to press this text. You heard me? Out.
Yo, y'all play too much. My godson had woke up. He was back there screaming, "Where you at?" um, bless you. So he said something before we roll out, and I pinned that comment. He talked about having a spouse, and Cameron Jr.'s mom, she said, hard when you don't have that other parent. So again, shout out to all the single parents. And that's facts, for any single parent that's raising a child or children, you know, um, it's even more complicated. You know what I'm saying? Because
Fuck
now,
complicated. It's extremely hard. As a single parent myself, and then I was in grad school, and then I'm working full time, and then I'm doing a full time internship. Like, I was going nuts. Instead of having family members support me, so I can babysit, I can do this while you do that. They be like, "Who has a baby when they in grad school?" I said, "Obviously me, bitch." The fuck, obviously me. And you know what? And I'm gonna make it. Ta-da. I mean, anywho.
Thanks.
But like it's a struggle because like sometimes when I need to do stuff, like I need to work late or I need to do something for myself, like doctor's appointments and stuff like that, and then like me being as sickly as I am and I need to go to like specialists and do the COVID, you can't bring a infant or you can't bring a toddler with you or you can't bring somebody that's not 18, and like I gotta neglect myself because I have nobody to sit and watch him and go to the doctor. Or I remember one time I literally had I was at my gastroenterologist appointment and I literally had a breakdown because I'm just like, I'm here and I'm with him. What you about to do? They was like, we can't, allow you back there. I said, well, you about to get somebody because I'm about to tear this bitch up. So what you want to do? Like, what you want to do? I said, did y'all take into account that people don't got a partner? Like, I got to do this shit by myself. So he has to come with me. He has to come with me to my OBGYN appointments. Like, he has to come with me. Like,
Right.
there's nobody else. So
again, yeah, shout out
this shit is difficult.
to the single
And it fucks with
parents.
your mental health. Your kid will watch you cry because you be so tired and you be crying. And your baby come in and be like, you okay? You okay, mommy? And you be like, yes, you make it okay.
That's facts. So y'all, like, for real, like, real deal. The takeaway, one, it's all right to have them them mature moments. It is okay. All right, y'all, like, don't feel guilty. Don't feel guilty when you want to get away from your kids. Now, look, also don't get mad if don't nobody want to watch your kids. Like, we just is 100. Like, hey, but find that space to take care of your mental and emotional intelligence. Because listen, if you don't, it's going to manifest in your children. You know what I'm saying? As parents, we have to often consider our children, but also our own mental health in raising our kids. Because in order for us to be the best for them, we have to try and be at our best. You know what I'm saying? And sometimes that's hard. Like I said, a lot of people say my children don't even know when either I'm struggling or when I'm emotionally all over the place or when my mental isn't good. That's good that you're able to mask for the kids, but you have to make sure that you do something about everything that's going on inside you. So what does that mean? Seek out therapy. Make time for some self-care. And look, if you can't get away from your kids, go to the park. Make a patio. Let them children run wild until they fall out, and you take them home and they straight to bed. You know what I'm saying? So find that time to take for yourself as a parent, because again, and I say this about 4 times already. Well, actually, your Wi-Fi is trash. But your children will test your inner gangster. They will, and they will try you and continue to try you. And God, dog, that girl Wi-Fi trash. Your kids will test you in a gangster. So it really is okay to have those moments and make sure you consider your own mental health. And not just your mental health, your emotional intelligence. Because again, I'm gonna go back to the discipline. Don't whip your kids when you're mad. Don't do that. It's not good. I'm gonna judge you. That's not good parenting. I'm gonna say it. That's not good parenting. If you gotta step back for a while and then come back and whoop them, because I'm a whooper, but I'm more of a talker. But sometimes it may be necessary. That's depending on depends on your parenting. But when you're disciplining, please consider where you are emotionally and where you are mentally. That is very important. That is very, very important. I was trying to pull Bunny up. I didn't want to sign off without her, but I think I'm going to have to, because I'm going to talk about her later, because she has some trashy Wi-Fi, but it's all good. So again, take time for yourself. You know what I'm saying? Take a break from your kids every now and then if you can. And if you can't, just find somebody to talk to, in spaces like this. This is just a space for you to share. And you're not alone. You're really not alone. You're really not alone. I remember my mom used to tell us when we would make her upset, my mom constantly told us she loved us and she would hug us. But sometimes she'd be like, I don't like you right now. It's all right to feel like that. It really is all right to feel like that. You know what I'm saying? But take that time for yourself. Take time for your mental health and your emotional health. All right. I hope y'all enjoyed this. I hope this was helpful. I really hope it was. She trying to come back up, y'all. I wanted her to at least tell y'all good night. We're going to work on getting her some better Wi-Fi, because I don't know what's wrong with her Wi-Fi. But please take some time. So to all the parents, whether you are a birth parent, foster parent, step parent, an uncle, and aunt, you help raising some kids, take that time for yourself. And I'm going to keep saying this. I'll probably say you're repeating yourself. I am. Your emotional health has to be or should be intact so that you can raise your children so that you are not passing down that same type of trauma to them. Lord.
And my phone overheated, yo. Like, I don't know. Jesus Christ.
Well, I was just giving them a sign off note. I was repeating myself. I was like, well, I don't think I'm gonna get her. People had
Gang,
already
gang.
dropped out.
Gang, gang.
But
My
now,
bad.
yo, you got anything? You got anything to say to the piece? I thought the teddy bear was moving. That's my godson. Yeah, that's the baby back there.
So what?
You got anything? Dory, come here.
I need better technology. Apparently, something ain't right. But
Hey,
he was talking about me.
he ain't gonna say nothing.
He was talking about me.
Oh, I was talking about your Wi-Fi.
You better be glad
It's
that little
trash.
baby right there, cause I go in. Hi.
Oh man.
You so handsome.
Hey.
Hey, handsome.
I like this age. I like this age. See, when they get to 15 and 14 and 16,
Well, I appreciate
we have to
y'all
buy. I'm
coming.
telling you, I had.
He said I
Yeah,
had
we
my
appreciate y'all for
Wi-Fi
real.
was
Come back
trash.
next week.
I'm
It
surprised
is.
New Orleans even got Wi-Fi at this point.
But you see, we still standing, and it's still working.
Burley. Aw. Let me glad that baby right there, because I rip you a new one. Well, I thank you guys for bearing with me. This was a great discussion. I appreciate everybody to show up.
Oh, they said not bunny with the Boost Mobile.
Jesus.
With the Boost Mobile. Anyway, y'all.
First of all, it's Simple Mobile. You feel me?
Oh, for sure.
That's like an off-brand internet, phone company too.
All right. Thank y'all. Come back. We'll see y'all next week. We appreciate y'all as always. Hopefully this was beneficial and helpful. And thank y'all for sharing your experiences as well. Peace out.
Bye-bye, guys.
All right.